Hey everyone, if you're watching this, you probably have the same problem that most of us have who have koi and plants, is that your koi are eating your plants. So those little guys right there have been munching on these water hyacinth for literally the last couple of months since we put them in here. Every new bit that comes up gets, they destroy the roots and they eat it, and so these things look like crap. So you can see I built this protector that's underneath it. Not real happy with the way this one came out. It's not deep enough. So I'm going to make a second one here, and I'm going to film making that. It's really simple. It's not real expensive. You can buy these online for 20 bucks and up. I'm going to make two of them for 20 bucks probably, and I could make way more of them if I really sourced my materials, not at retail. If I used Amazon or something like that. So let me get myself set up. I'll show you what you need, and we'll get making. Okay, back at the table. I'm going to work on it right here. Pretty straightforward. I mean, I picked up, so this is just 3/8 inch inside diameter tubing that I picked up at Home Depot. 10 feet of it. This is 5 feet. I made two out of this. This was maybe, I don't know, 10 bucks for the 10 feet. I picked up a 3/8 inch splicer that'll be used to connect these two ends together. This was under $4. If I was real careful with this, I could have bought plastic ones, which would be just fine on online, on Amazon for like $1 a piece. So these, and brass is way overkill for what we're doing here. Zip ties, I bought 100 of them, also at Home Depot for like 10 bucks. This is landscape fabric, the stuff you put down when you're going to put gravel or whatever down, or mulch. You put this down underneath. This is what I'm going to use as the divider between the fish and the plants, just regular weed block. And then a scissor, a snipper for the cables, and a tape measure to measure everything up. You'll see that in a sec. So the first thing you want to do is you need to make a circle out of this tubing. So it comes pretty tight. I've already done this a little bit. You want to get it so that it holds something of a circle like this pretty easily. So when you first get it, you just take it and you push against the natural curve that it's got from being packaged. You just push against it with your thumb, kind of, you want to reverse the curve, and you just do this, literally 4 or 5 times is all you're going to need to do it. You don't need to get it perfect. You just want to see that you can get it so that it holds something of a circle. We're not looking for perfection here. And then this is where this comes in. What you want to do is you want to heat this up. Do it over here, out of the wind. There we go. So I'm just heating up the plastic a little bit. That'll cause it to soften and expand. Then we take this barbed splicer, push it on in, and what'll happen is, since this is warm and expanded and soft, the barbs go in. Now as this cools down, it'll really squeeze down on that, and it will, there we go. So you don't want to melt it. Just a little bit of heat. Come here and you push it in, so it slides in nice and easy. It's warm to the touch, but that will tighten itself up here on this and make this nice and watertight. You could put hose clamps and whatever on this. It's really not necessary. Again, there's no pressure. The only thing that's in here is air, and there's no the water isn't being forced into it or anything like that. And you just want to try to get it to be, again, something of a circle. So we'll put that to the side for the moment. Next thing we want to do is we want to cut the landscape fabric. So again, you can use, they have deer fence, they have all kinds of different things you can use for this. This is 3 feet long. What I'm going to do So I'm going to cut this into a square so I can work with it more easily. So I'm going to measure out 3 feet this way. "36" is right there. Good eye. So again, doesn't need to be perfect. And the nice thing about the fabric here is that it's got, well, it's really easy to cut, but it's got these squares in it, and so I find the closest intersection of the lines that make the squares, and I just cut up that line. All right, so I've got a 3-foot square here. Now what I did on the last one, which I did wrong, is I made it, I sort of made it, I cut a lot off the outside. I cut too much off the outside, and what I have there is a little bit too tight. So what I'm going to do for this one, I'm not going to cut any extra off. Instead, what I'll do is I'll measure about 9 inches, get it centered, 8.5 inches. So again, we're not looking for perfection here. That's about 8.5 inches. That's about 9 inches. So right in there. Just move it around a little bit. So we'll call it 9 inches. It's going to come here. So we get this centered up. Again, it's not a perfect circle. So okay, that's about as centered as we're going to get. What I'm going to do is I'm going to mark in this direction about 8.5 inches. So what I want to do is I want to kind of cut this so that is now so that it's about the right size. So it's about the same distance that I'm folding over. And again, we're not talking anything crazy here. This is just so that when I fold it over to the edges, it will sort of, there won't be a lot of waste that I have to deal with. And of course that one is in a corner that I can't easily get to. But we'll say, about that one. Let's say this one. So again, you got the lines here. You just cut straight down the line. And I'll grab some cable ties. Real simple. I'm just going to fold it over, just a little bit of an overlap. And I want to catch the bottom, and this pushes through pretty easily. So we just make up. So what I'll do is I'll make this up. And of course it's going to get a little windy while I'm doing this. Just give it a push through. Again, if you have something that's a little bit more, a little thicker than this, you may need to poke a hole in it first. You don't want to force anything to the point where you're damaging more than the area that you're actually pushing through. But I found that this stuff, I was poking holes in this with an ice pick, but honestly, this goes right through. So we'll start with these four corners, right? And then what I'll do is I'll work on the four edges. I'm going to leave myself not a whole lot of extra in here. You don't want to just fold this over, because that'll make the whole thing too tight. You really want to sort of just grab the edges like we did here. You know, just a little bit of overlap underneath. You see I'm catching, you know, I've only got maybe a ½ inch additional beyond where the zip tie is going through. So you see the pattern here that I'm working with, and to the initial corners. Try to get this a little closer to the center. Again, it's not a perfect circle, so and there's nothing about this. You want the perfect one, pay 20 bucks or 30 bucks for it online. Get it shipped to you for 10 bucks. And you can have a perfect looking one that you're then going to throw into your pond and cover in plants so that you're never going to see it again. But if you want one that's functional and effective, this is, you know, what have we been? 15 minutes so far, maybe. So yeah, so now once I've got those, see what I'll just keep doing, I'll just keep kind of hitting the centers of each, you know, hit the four corners, then I hit the new four corners. Now I'll hit in between those, and you just kind of want to go through. It uses a bunch of zip ties. But again, like 100 of these were 10 bucks at retail. You can, I'm sure if I sourced my materials more sensibly, I could have saved a whole bunch of money. This is probably going to use 20 or so of these, so a couple dollars worth of zip ties. And again, so this one, maybe it would certainly be much deeper than the first one that I showed you at the beginning. That one, I cut a lot of the extra. I didn't go right to the edge like this, because I thought the way I was doing it, it was going to be plenty deep, and like I said, it really wasn't. So, so now I didn't cut any off. This might be too much. What I'll probably end up doing is pulling the other one up, pulling the other one out once this is done, and redoing it again. And maybe if I find that this one's a little bit too deep, maybe I'll split the difference and, you know, maybe cut some extra out. Seems like a lot of space between these two. I'm gonna skip some spaces here. Yeah. I'll just tighten those up. These things are cheap enough. Okay. You go around, get snipping. So, I mean, where are we at now? We're at 10 minutes, 15 minutes, I don't know. We are only probably 2 minutes away from this thing from splashdown. Alright, so alright, let's take a walk over to the pond and see how this thing looks when it's in the water. Okay, so I just literally tossed it in the water. It's all bubbled up like a hat. I'll just give a little push down to get it filled with some water. So that's going to lay much deeper than the first one. You'll see in a sec when I start pulling them out. That's not bad. Get down here. Hold on, I'm just going to grab some of these guys. Just toss them in there. I'll move them around in a minute. Okay. All right. Oops, sorry if I'm getting a bad camera angle there. I'm not looking at the camera. So yeah, so this is better. I've got some room for the roots to grow. I'll take this one out. You can see this one was real tight, not very deep at all. So I'm going to rebuild this one. But for right now, like I said, what do we got? 20 minutes worth of work in this thing? And sorry guys, you are not going to be able to feast on those. Although you can see they've already started going to my water lilies. And look at some other plants in here that I'm sure they'll find their way to now that these water hyacinths are no longer available. But real simple. You make a ring, you put some sort of a barrier on it that water can get through that the fish can't, and you made yourself a koi barrier for your floating plants. Pretty simple, no reason to go spend a whole bunch of money online for this. So that's it. If you like what you see, hit like, hit subscribe to the channel, check out my other pond videos, and you know, enjoy your fish. Take care.